All right, we are back. We've got Chi-Town Lowdown. It is January 15th. The Bears have just completed their interview with head coach, or I guess former head coach Mike McCarthy. And that's mostly what we're going to be talking about today in terms of things that have changed or anything that's changed in regard to the Bears, mostly centered around the head coaching conversation. So I know we've got some strong opinions. I think the last thing that we said in the pre-discussion was that we were viewing Mike McCarthy as the favorite as far as the buzz goes. Jesse disagrees. So, Jesse, you want to go ahead and tell us why that is the case?
Last post I saw on the betting odds, we're still showing Ben Johnson as the favorite. Maybe I'm out of date. Maybe I have not checked socials frequently enough today.
Where are you seeing betting odds for head coaching?
I've seen some posts on X that are giving odds for the Bears' next head coach.
Does it give like a book that's handling those, or
I'll see if I can find one while one of you guys are talking here, and maybe I can pull that up.
I've got a few things I want to see. It doesn't matter what name comes up for me right now. I'm in a dark place. I mean, Jesus Christ himself could ascend from heaven above, and I'd be like, I don't like it. This team is poison. The organization is poison. And I'm going to be unhappy until they're winning games. So, if I had to gun to my head, who do I want? I'm going to say Ben Johnson. And I'm not even happy about that anymore. So it sucks. I'm really, obviously the one big sort of announcement thus far or decision that's been made has been Brady going back to New England, which kind of just felt like that was going to be the case all along. That seemed to make the most sense with his history there in that franchise. Obviously, he was one of the guys that was at the top of the list for most people in relation to who the next Bears head coach would be. But with that being said, until some of these other guys start to fall into place, I'm really just like, I don't want to hear it. I need to a detox from the Bears and everything Chicago Bears related. It's just until we get the guy, the speculation is just annoying to me. So, I know that's why everyone's here for Bears talk. That's my 2 cents. I'll pass it on to the next person.
Yeah, there's not much in Bears news.
I've got the odds, Jesse, if you're looking for those. I think you might be with that furrowed brow over there. Sorry to cut you off, Tom.
You're good.
The screenshot that I sent to the group chat was from Twitter. It was Jamie Eisner, and he was hitting the odds via betonline_AG. So Jamie Eisner, EISNER. BetOnline AG, yeah. Was that Argentina? I don't know. But he did not update the Bears head coaching odds in the last 2 days. He updated every other franchise but the Bears. I think he posted a speculative tweet to say that Mike McCarthy's the front runner at plus 300 in Chicago. But he also did say that it was all speculation, on his own.
Yeah, I think at this point it is there's so much coming out, and Luke, I get why it's kind of annoying. We'll see, if the Bears make the right decision. I don't know what that right decision is until they implement it. And in terms of Ben Johnson, I believe that I want Ben Johnson. The thing with Ben Johnson, though, is that he's in the playoffs right now. And we can't interview him in Chicago until he's done. League rules, I think. So,
we can't officially interview, right?
Yeah, so we could, put feelers out there and be like, we want you. And that could – there's just a lot of, games that you can play in this because other teams are looking for coaches as well. And obviously everybody knows that Ben Johnson is a hot target here. So I was saying before we got on here that I'm hearing that the Raiders are actually front runners right now. And that was from, Jesse, I know you were talking – Vincent Bonzigamore. He is a local Raiders reporter.
Maybe a little bit of wishful thinking on Vincent's part.
Huh?
That is such a made-up name.
Anyways, but as Jesse said off the pod as well, Adam Schefter was reporting why would he want to go to the Raiders? The Raiders don't have a quarterback, all these things. There's pros and cons for both. Like, obviously, we have Caleb Williams. They don't have a GM. And if people are saying that Ben Johnson wants to go in there, and he's not going to come out and say that, I want to have my own GM. I want to do that.
Just to add a little bit more, to back up.
Before you hop in, all right, so this is what I was looking at on X. This is from Daniel.
Go ahead.
Daniel Colton. Okay, updated Chicago Bears head coach odds per Bet Online. So I think the same.
BetOnline.ag.
Yeah. So this was yesterday. Ben Johnson minus 250, Mike McCarthy plus 250, then Cliff Kingsbury plus 700, and Pete Carroll plus 700 as well. And you can see he subtweeted this off of the post that he made on the 13th, so 2 days ago, when Ben Johnson was minus 125 and Mike McCarthy was plus 250. So, obviously Ben Johnson became even more the favorite from the 13th to the 14th. He has not updated this post for today, so I'll be interested to see what this looks like. But this is what I was talking about when I say Ben Johnson still looks like the favorite, right? From what I
don't think Mike McCarthy is the favorite at this point. We just freaking flew him out there.
Private.
I think that people are reading into that a little bit too much. I think maybe they think highly of him. Maybe he's been in the league a long time.
He's 500 in playoff games, 11-11. I'd take that.
Yeah, I mean, there have been some other posts that I've seen today about comparisons between McCarthy and Tomlin, and how maybe McCarthy even has a slight edge on Tomlin in terms of how they've performed in the playoffs over their coaching careers. And I don't think a lot of people would expect that, given, kind of the bad rap that McCarthy has gotten in Dallas. But, Dallas is kind of everybody's punching bag except for Dallas Cowboys fans, right?
I think if you're a head coach coming from Cowboys, dude, anything's better than that.
You got Jerry looking over your shoulder, jabbing you and stuff like that.
He's probably relieved no matter where he goes.
Yeah, I think he could have been constrained somewhat, like we're talking about Kevin Warren being involved and stepping on Poles' toes. That is very, very apparent in Dallas, and they almost like lean into it, it would seem. So here's one theoretical that I wanted to propose earlier before Jesse interjected and took my turn, which I do appreciate you doing, Jesse. That was some great stuff there. We love the graphs and the graphics. But here's the thought that I had when we did fly out McCarthy private. Is it at all remotely possible that the Bears are actually implementing a big brain move here, maybe a little bit of 4D chess, and actually making it seem like, hey, we're really interested in Mike McCarthy, and then Ben Johnson is having less chips to negotiate with there because we've expressed interest elsewhere, kind of little negotiation tactic. Any possibility that we're doing that?
I feel like Ben Johnson right now, there's no way he can be thinking about, like, it has to be in the back of his mind at this point.
Yeah, I would hope.
Put yourself into Ben Johnson's shoes and think about what he is weighing when he's thinking about how to make this decision.
He's weighing his nuts.
Location's going to be one of these things. So you have Chicago, you have Las Vegas, you have Jacksonville. Are there any other names out there?
Saints,
New Orleans,
Pittsburgh, probably.
Oh no, Tomlin's not going anywhere.
So
we were just talking about him.
He might, but I don't think he, like, unless he.
Location's one thing.
Anyway,
roster. Ownership, GM. I think if you're looking at all of those things together, you can kind of start to put grades on what those are at different places. Obviously, for the Bears, ownership probably isn't going to get that great of a grade.
Raiders
polls, you could probably give about a C right now. Location, it's probably one of the more sought after locations, I would imagine, as long as Ben Johnson's okay with cold weather, which he's in Detroit right now. Doesn't seem to be an issue. I know they're in a dome there, but with the expectation that Chicago is going to be building a multi-billion-dollar lakefront stadium that could potentially make a bid for a Super Bowl. I think that's got to be an attractive, thing that you're looking at if you're a head coach that's going to want to be around for a long time with a young quarterback that is still supposed to be this generational type talent. That's probably an A in his mind. Probably one of the more important things as well, being an offensive minded coach. I think Caleb is going to be one of the biggest attractors for Ben Johnson to come to Chicago, and just the fact that it's in a larger market. It's one of the more, I think, popular sports brands in the NFL. Las Vegas, just made a big move to Las Vegas from Oakland. Obviously, they have a lot of momentum, a new stadium. Their ownership's a little volatile as well. So that may be something that Ben Johnson's I'm sure he's taking into account. Obviously, they have some new minority ownership in Tom Brady. There's a lot of different dynamics that I'm sure he is weighing. And I got to think that Chicago is right up there with all of these other organizations and destinations as right at the top of his mind. I just don't see how any other organization could really be that much further ahead than where we're at.
The only thing I would add to that is that I agree with you in terms of the remaining openings, trying to set, biases aside. It would appear to me that Chicago is towards the top of the list, if not the top, place that most coaching candidates would want to land. The quarterback situation with the, what appears to be kind of the freedom organizationally with polls and the front office. Like, you look at the Cowboys, for example. Like, who wants to go work with Jerry Jones? It's got to be the least appealing thing ever. Like, that's a situation where you're going to be handcuffed by the higher ups. The Bears, at least on the surface, even though this can't be the case, because if it were the case, this organization wouldn't be what it was. But on the surface, they appear to be hands off from an ownership perspective. So you're working with what appears to be kind of an up and coming younger GM in Ryan Poles. And, you're obviously going to have a lot of say in what direction the organization takes, whether that be through the draft, free agency, how contracts are structured, whatever that might look like. And then on top of that, you have Caleb, right? Which is a huge chess piece here, because you're looking at a draft this year with that, it's early on. Things could change as the draft gets closer, but this is already being talked about as one of a weaker draft class as it relates to the quarterback position. So for all those reasons, you would think that the Bears would be an appealing option. But to add to what Tom mentioned, and this, I can't even remember the guy's name, whatever. One thing that
Vincent Bonzigmore.
Yeah, Bonzigmore.
Yep. Also, caveat: Tom's not been the greatest of names on this show.
For a couple of years there, or Defense Against the Dark Arts, one of the two. Regardless, the Raiders' position does seem to be becoming a little more attractive. And I think Vegas due in large part is to kind of some of the things that Jesse had brought up. They've got that brand new stadium. Vegas is if you're a young superstar athlete, like, that's an attractive place to live. There's plenty of things to keep you busy there, just like there are in Chicago. But then the wild card to this is kind of what's coming to light with Brady and his ownership piece there, is that, despite being a minority owner, it seems like they are giving him the keys as it relates to some of the decisions that are being made in the front office, especially as it relates to this coaching search. And, who's to say as to whether or not Brady is going to be as successful in running a team as he was as a player. But I think that brings some appeal to that job. So I definitely think they've kind of risen up in the ranks in terms of an attractive position for coaches. I think that it's obviously something that's got to be discussed during these interviews with regardless of the team is what's the quarterback position look like for us? Like if I'm coming in as head coach, am I going to be able to go get my guy in this draft? So I believe the Raiders I think we're 9th or 10th right now.
I don't think they're in a position to get a quarterback.
We're 10.
You don't think they are, or you think they are?
Tom? I don't think so.
Oh, you don't think they're in a position to get the Raiders aren't, Tom, to get
a quarterback? Aren't they outside of the top 5? Or am I?
I mean, all this can change prior to the draft, right?
They could try to get a quarterback. You know, it's not a great quarterback class, I think, but
Aiden O'Connell's still young on his rookie deal.
The Raiders have the 6th pick.
Yeah,
6th pick. It's probably outside, but you know, you never know what can happen leading up to a draft. You know, say they are fuck it, we're gonna trade Crosby. They could move up some spots.
Yeah, for sure.
I wouldn't be
trade firsts in future drafts. You know, if they
I wouldn't be surprised if Shedeur falls to the 6th pick.
It's possible as well.
I mean Cam Ward and Jackson Dart that I think could both potentially work their way up, and
it's already been expressed from the Sanders family that they aren't going to make it easy for teams that they don't perceive as good fits for Shedeur, right? Like they've already made it known that like, hey, if we don't like the situation, we're going to make it difficult for you.
Right. But honestly, if you're Ben Johnson,
Eli Manning,
maybe you don't. I mean, Shedeur in Las Vegas makes sense, but if you're Ben Johnson, do you want Shedeur?
I think the main thing I'm hearing.
I don't like Shedeur. I was
going to say Shedeur's ass, dude. He played it.
He's a good prospect.
Oh no, dude, you can't be in this conversation. You hate Colorado so much. I can't.
He played it to you, dude. What have they done? They lost the bowl game to BYU. They got murdered. BYU.
I know.
I think Shedeur is a prospect, and like the tangible things that you're looking for, like you know, size, height, weight, arm talent, like those things are there for him. Obviously, he's got, a Hall of Fame pedigree with his dad. I don't love sort of everything that comes with that personally. If you're a head coach in the league, some people probably just think I don't really care. Once I can get him in my locker room or get him in the facility, like all that stuff isn't going to matter. And maybe it won't. I don't know. But again, for me, until we get a better read on where some of these candidates are going to go, and it's hard to say with playoffs still going on. I'd assume Johnson is not going to make a decision on a job opening until the Lions are finished with the year, right? So that puts the Bears and all these other teams in a tough position because say you really like one of the other guys on your board and you want to wait until you can get a chance to interview Johnson as well, and then that guy that's second or third on your board, he could get hired elsewhere. So it's a tough place to be. I kind of envy the Patriots and where they're at. Like they had that guy that just made sense and they've already got him hired and he's in the facility. And like, say the Lions go to the Super Bowl. When's the Super Bowl?
After January 30th. So February?
Second weekend in February.
Yeah.
Right. So, I mean, it sounds silly, but like Vrabel has a month head start in that facility with the Patriots. Like he's in there already game planning.
That's too bad New England's in Cancun right now.
It doesn't matter where the players are right now. That front office is working. This is a year-round job for these guys. Let's not kid ourselves. So players might not be there, but the front office is working. Especially if you're Mike Vrabel, you're working. Like
for sure.
So that's. I'd like to see the Bears in a position to do that, but honestly, again, I'm in such a negative headspace with this team. Even if they do get Ben Johnson, I am not going to allow myself to have any shred of hope or happiness until they are playing games in the regular season next year. And
winning.
Yeah, I mean.
Yeah, it's hard to get excited. We need to wrap this up, but I think right now, in my opinion, Ben Johnson's number 1. It looks like McCarthy's number 2.
No, your opinion. In
your opinion, McCarthy's number 1, right? Or did we sway you?
No, I still think listen. So I think that we still want Ben Johnson as that's our number 1 pick. But Bears being the Bears, they're gonna freak out and be like, Ben Johnson's not gonna be available. They're not gonna communicate with his agent or whatever. We're gonna get McCarthy. And you know what? I've kind of talked myself into McCarthy. He's proven that he can win games in big games at that. Super Bowl, okay? So, if we hire freaking him, he grew up with Aaron Rodgers, not grew up, but he grew with Aaron Rodgers. Maybe he can do the same with Caleb Williams, but that's, I still believe that we won't land Ben Johnson. That's my thought.
I think you guys know what I think of when I think of Mike McCarthy.
Fat, big,
lazy eye? ? I don't know.
Does he ever?
I haven't seen lazy eye on him.
Kind of like this is.
He doesn't seem like a leader of men. You know what I'm saying?
This just came to me. Okay, hear me out. If they wanted to go off the wall, they should hire someone that they know is going to suck, right? Get him fired in a year. Really drive Caleb into the ground.
Where are we going?
Andrew Luck just got hired, I think, in the last year as the general manager of Stanford Cardinal at Stanford. Hire Andrew Luck as the head coach of the Chicago Bears.
Wow.
How great would that be?
I don't know.
That would be cool, but I don't see it. That's
quarterback, general manager, get Poles out of there, and just let him.
I think
coming back to Mike McCarthy. You guys seen the clip where he's like, "We've built championship team. We're just not the world championship yet."
No, I haven't.
You haven't seen that?
What about like a Notre Dame coach? I forgot his name. Or an Ohio.
I'm good.
I know. I'm just saying, you never know. With
we're not in a position to take
last
a flyer on.
Last thing, Caleb was on the St. Brown podcast.
I saw that.
And he made some comments.
What?
What?
I did not see any of this. Sorry, that's crazy to me. All right.
Yeah, he was on the St. Brown. Oh, well, one thing Tom mentioned, he's coming around to Mike McCarthy kind of reluctantly, and I had seen this tweet from Alex Pat at Shy Fan Pat 2, Pat with 2 T's. Many Bears fans are already at the quote acceptance stage for Mike McCarthy, who hasn't been hired and very well might not be the next head coach. That's how much the Bears have broken their fans. That's how much Chicago has broken their fans.
Yeah, that sounds exactly like me right now.
Yeah, that one hit home. And then, so coming back to the St. Brown podcast and Caleb, Caleb made a comment. He selfishly wanted an offensive-minded head coach, and really signaled he would like the organization to hire Ben Johnson. It seemed like from his body language and his tone and kind of the way he was delivering the message around Ben Johnson in the head coaching position. So another reason why, maybe Ben Johnson is showing as the current betting favorite to be the next head coach of the organization. I mean, I think that Caleb being the franchise quarterback in the eyes of probably
you gotta have some sort of say.
Yeah, I mean, his opinion needs to be taken into account. And then
he was actually talking to St. Tom or St. whatever.
What is his name, Tom?
St. I want to say St. Thomas Vincent, like a church.
Aquanimia St. Brown.
St. Brown. That's what it is.
And Amun-Ra St. Brown.
St. There's a church in Peoria.
St. Vincent Church is what I was just like. I don't even know if that's a church, but
there's also a St. Thomas Church.
Anyways.
And there was also a friendly exchange between Amun-Ra and Caleb.
Oh, good.
About having to compete.
I saw he had blue hair.
For years to come. So that was good to see, Caleb with some confidence and Amun-Ra kind of like, oh, like you don't want this. And Caleb wasn't backing down. So that was kind of fun.
At least we're in the discussion.
I was trying to make a joke. Did Caleb know he was talking to St. Brown, or was it like some kids?
No, he was on the St. Brown podcast. Like
I know, I was making a joke because he's an idiot and got duped by those teenage kids.
Oh, I didn't see that.
Yeah, they said like they got his number and texted him and were like, this is Ben Johnson. I'm excited to work with you. Blah blah blah. And he texted back, and it was just like it was so long. He's like, "Hell yeah, and like he FaceTimed him, and it was a bunch of kids, dude. And it was like, and he just smiled and hung up, but he feels like an idiot. And I was like,
"Oh my gosh,
but
that's awesome."
Yeah.
Why didn't we think of that? Or
Yeah.
have the resources to pull it off?
Yeah. I mean, Caleb, how do you fall for that, dude? Come on.
Dang. Missed opportunity.
Yeah. Right down, low down. Talking to Caleb.
Not going to miss this opportunity to wrap up the show, though. We are going to get into our picks against the spread. We've got some games, 4 games that we're going to be picking for the divisional round, and stick around. We will be starting that up here and getting that posted for you soon. Bear down.